Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here, and wanted to shoot a market update video for you. It's August 14th, a little after 6:30 a.m. my time, and the market, so Bitcoin moved down yesterday, quite a bit faster than a lot of people expected, and did not get the bounce that I was looking for. It did have a little dead cat bounce, but it wasn't near as good as I thought. I actually went long on this thing back at 10.9. Got stopped out for break even minus fees. Then went long again at 10.835 back in this area here. Ended up selling that one for a very small win. Just didn't look like I was going to get the bounce back up to 11.1 that I was wanting. So I dumped that one for a small win, and then I just stayed out and watched this thing go down. Here's the thing. Right now people are getting super bearish. This is just the way, crypto works. Twitter goes from one side to the other, and the reason I always talk about Twitter is it's a really good thermometer for the temperature of sentiment. So if you take a look at the charts, I'm not sure where we go from here, and I'm sitting on the sidelines. I've still got my long running shorts, and what I mean by my long running shorts, I need to clarify this. I don't have any open positions, as in I don't have any margin orders open that are short. What I did was I sold all of my Bitcoin, and I still haven't bought that Bitcoin back. So by textbook definition, that's a short. Okay, I'm still short because I haven't bought it back yet. I still don't think it's going back up. But I'm starting to gravitate toward neutral, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, I'm still not a buyer. I won't be a buyer at these levels. I would rather miss Bitcoin than buy and watch my money dump 30%. But we went down a little faster than what I would have liked to have seen. So let's just talk about the whole thing today. Let's start with the big picture stuff. Okay, so here is our Bitcoin dominance chart. Been watching this one for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. And as you can see, this is a 3-day chart. As you can see, we came down very, very quickly. We touched the top back, blues night on the 9th or 10th of August, and it's immediately got rejected. And then we had a huge dump. And here we are. This is actually this is a 3-day candle that started today, just less than 12 hours ago, and it's already coming down, and it had a little dead cat bounce off of the trend, but it looks like it's going to drop out of the bottom of it, but we'll see. We could get a bounce off of this. I'm watching that. If we take a look at the daily chart, this came down so quick, so fast that we basically fulfilled the need to get down to our golden ratio. See, this 61.8 fib was 10.335. On Coinbase we came down to 10.353, but I haven't looked at the other exchanges. That's close enough for me. Okay, so a lot of times you will get a bounce off that 61.8 fib, and it could be that that's a dead cat bounce, or it could be that we're actually going to try to make a leg higher. The fact that we came down and tagged that, it's bullish. If we take a look at our RSI, we are very, very oversold on pretty much every time frame, on the smaller time frames. If we take a look at 4 hour, we're sitting down here at 22.12. That is the lowest we have been on RSI in quite some time. We can draw in a horizontal line here. Look at this. We're talking about since January of 2019 is the last time 4 hour RSI dropped that low. Yesterday, the hourly RSI dropped lower than it had been in January as well. So we are due for some type of bounce, at the very least, a relief bounce, okay, to release some of these oversold conditions. And those bounces, it's tough to say how high those things are going to go. Again, we've been oversold on the hourly. We've been playing around down here in oversold territory for a day and a half now, or a day. So we also have some bullish divergence, right? Triple bullish divergence. In fact, if you look at this, price was sitting there just making lower lows, while RSI continued making higher lows, and this is actually a triple divergence. So again, looks like it's due for some type of bounce. If we look at the 6 hour chart, we're actually oversold on the 6 hour chart. On the 5 minute chart, it doesn't always say a lot about the big picture. We're not oversold, but that's because we just got this bounce. So we had a bounce here from 10.358 up to 10.562. That's a $200 bounce, pretty good bounce. But time will tell if this is what this is going to end up doing. Okay. Now again, just because this starts to go back up doesn't mean I'm suddenly going to be a bull. I'm talking about, smaller time frames. I'm bullish because it needs to bounce. Doesn't mean I'm bullish on the long time frame. Okay, so I may look for a long position today just to try to play the dead cat bounce for a couple of percent and scalp it. We'll see. The other thing that I'm looking at, let's take a look at the weekly chart here. I am still watching this weekly chart. These are my long-term trend lines going back to 2015. This top one is the trend line from 2017 through now. And I've been watching this for the last probably close to 2 weeks now. What I'm wondering is if this is going to turn into one giant M, and if so, this yellow line is the line the bulls are going to have to hold. I do not think they will hold it if price gets that low. I do think it'll fall right through it, so I've been watching that as well. One of the reasons that this thing is due for a bounce, or one of the reasons I believe it's due for a bounce, actually has nothing to do with charts at all. It's the crypto fear and greed index. We have went from, we were at greed just a couple of days ago to fear, and now we've capitulated right into the extreme fear phase. And if you take a look at a monthly chart, we are now further down into the fear index than we've been in over a month. In fact, the fear index is now lower than it's been in 3 months. And if we look, the last time the fear index got down to 11 was back in December of 2018. In fact, it got down to 11 on December 15th, 2018, which was literally the bottom for Bitcoin. So again, that's another reason that I'm looking for some type of bounce here. The fact that we moved down so fast and that people got afraid so quick, it's not what I wanted to see, because I wanted to see a slow grind down. I didn't want to see this real quick sell-off like this, because again, what it's done is it's set us up for some type of bounce. And of course, the way sentiment changes in this market, if we start to bounce, suddenly people will get exuberant again, and we could start seeing it, try to push a leg higher instead of going continuing on its way down. So we're going to have to be careful about going short here and opening any actual short positions. We are still underneath. We closed yesterday underneath this 50 moving average, which I mentioned in yesterday's video would be very, very bearish if that happened. And that's exactly what happened. We closed underneath it, and you can see the reaction here was pretty swift and pretty brutal, just going down. So time will tell. Right now, I won't be hunting for shorts. I'll tell you that right now. The only thing I'm going to be hunting for, well, let me rephrase that. On a daily time frame, on an intraday time frame, I'll hunt for whatever's there. If I see a long, I'll take a long. If I see a short, I'll take a short. But as far as something that I would want to ride, overnight, for example, I can't see me taking any short positions when the market is this oversold and the fear index looks the way it does. It just, and on top of that, we're sitting right on this Bitcoin dominance trend line. If we zoom in on the daily, it's even easier to see. We actually did get a bounce right off of that trend line. Just a lot of stuff that says that this thing is going to at least have some type of mini bounce or whatnot. And when I say a mini bounce, I need to be very clear about this. We could get a dead cat bounce that went up and retested. Well, we could get anything. Of course, anything's possible. But it wouldn't shock me at all if we went back up and retested this old neckline. Not that high. I would be a little surprised by that. But we could go up to this old neckline. I thought yesterday we would bounce off of 10.8 and go up and test it. What we might actually see is it bounce from the 61.8 fib down here. This might be the bounce that I was looking for before it goes a leg further. Or again, just like I said yesterday, maybe it bounces up here and it's set and people get, or again, like I said yesterday, maybe it bounces up here and people get exuberant and it just says, you know what, I'm done correcting, let's go. So over on our CME, we still have a very interesting picture. You can see yesterday we did fill the gap, which I had talked about, I thought would probably happen. But now we have two gaps. We have two gaps left. We have the gap up here that we created on this massive move down, and that gap exists from around 11.7 all the way up to about 11.8. We also have a gap down here from the $8,500 level. So here's what I think about these gaps. I know some people don't believe gaps fill, or they believe it's a coincidence. I do believe they fill. I do believe they matter. I believe people trade them. In fact, I know people trade them. You can go to Investopedia and you can actually read about this. There are traders that only play gaps. Okay, that's how they trade. And when I'm trading stocks, for example, I trade gaps on the stock market. It works very well. So I do know that gaps fill, and they fill for the same reason that all technical analysis works, because people believe it works. And when you have masses of people believing the same thing, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. All right. So this one, I think it's going to fill regardless, because eventually I do think we'll go up. When that is, I don't know. So I'm not so worried about that one filling right away. I really want to see this one fill. I really want to see this one come down and fill this thing. That's what would make me comfortable. One thing I will point out is, don't forget that we are actually still inside of this giant descending triangle. So if we draw some rays on here, I like the rays the best because they just go where I need them to go. All right. Don't want that one. That's a really big one, but let's take a look at this triangle here. Okay, so I know a lot of people thought that because we busted through the top here that it was game over, but look, that was obviously a false breakout. It was just a wick, right? So we're still inside underneath that trend line, and if we draw a trend line right here, this is a weekly chart. Okay, look. This is a descending triangle, and what you often get, let's go to a 3-day. Here we go. Okay, so something like this. What we could be seeing is we could see this thing come down, and if it comes down, I think it'll drop through. But we could also see a relief bounce where this bounces up and tags the top of this, and then comes down. And if you look at the top of this trend line here, if it came over, let's say, in the next couple of days, that would be up around 11.5. Came over in the next, say, week, that trend line would be up around 11.3. If it came over the next, 9 days, 11.2. And that all makes sense from a resistance standpoint, because if we draw horizontal lines, here, look, we do have resistance right here at that 11,280 level. So if it comes over here and tags in this area, that'd be a pretty strong place to go short. Again, if we draw right here, this is 3-day resistance here, right? And again, lines up really nicely over here around 11.4. I mean, there's all types of resistances. So if we do get a bounce, I think we'll probably just go up and test the top of this trend and then come down. And if that were the case, then what we'd end up with is something that looks like this, which would be another giant M. Okay, so good stuff happening today. I'll be watching, and day trading is normal, but like I said, I'll probably be staying out on any type of, first of all, I'm not a swing trader, but I'm trying to get more into it because the fees on day trading are ridiculous. So if I can start swing trading, I can save myself thousands of dollars a month in fees. But I won't be swing trading this. I won't be going short or long, bottom line. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed it, please be sure and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. I'm not a professional financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice before making any type of investment. Don't forget to check the description for links where you can follow me on Twitter, TradingView, and also join my free Facebook group. This is James. Trade safe.